Alright, I want to go over the Drill Doctor today. I know it's a pretty basic shop tool. Some guys hate them, some guys love them. I love mine. You get used to using it. You can actually make a drill bit. So I got two 3/16 bits here. They're both Irwin bits. I like to buy quality ones. 3/16 because sometimes we do brake lines. We reuse the fittings if I custom make them. And 3/16 is for drilling out the 3/16 line. So always got a few extra. I kind of sharpen them like a dick. So if you're not careful and you're using a bit I sharpened, you're going to break it. So I just want to go over a few things on the Drill Doctor. So there you can see the 135 split point. They're pretty good out of the package, but the Drill Doctor makes them even better. A few tips with this. It comes with the bit holder. Has two little white lines. I painted one of them red. That way you don't have to count. You just start on red, end on red. I'm not going to show you how to use the thing. I'm just going to give you a bunch of tips, and then if you spent the money on it, it's your responsibility to know how to use the thing. So tip number one is when I'm drilling steel, you always set it to 135. I don't know if you can see the 135 spot, but this actually adjusts so you can do the 118s if you want, but we're doing them on 135. And then these notches here line up with this part of where, that's how you line up your drill bit alignment. And what I like to do to get these a little more aggressive is where it's got the plus and the minus here, I take and go one notch toward the plus. That makes the drill bit just a little bit more aggressive. The problem with that is if you use standard feed pressure like you would with the bit right out of the package, it'll eat like crazy and you'll break it. Especially on that punch through right at the end. Anybody that's got experience drilling steel knows what I mean. But it's worth it to save time. I'll sacrifice a few dollar drill bit to get through something really fast. You know, I can drill a wheel stud out in less than 10 minutes. A lot of people run those tuner lugs, run into that problem. I'm gonna just drill that out right now. But basically when I'm setting this up, the important thing is to be super deliberate about how you do it. So grab this one out of the package. I'm going to set that up with the flats pointed on the high spots. So we're just going to snug it up and then back it off a little bit so that slides nice and rolls pretty decent. Then you hold the lever open. Like I said, I set it up one notch towards the positive, and when you hold the drill bit in there, you can see as you turn it, there's a spot that it wants to grab. That's where you want it to be. And then you can just snug that up, remove it, give it a good snugging, and then you can either recheck it if you need to or you think you need to, or you can go right to using the cutter. And like I said, I just start with red here and then gently grind the drill bit to the right shape. And then I like to always make sure my split point's good, so if these are starting to wear down here a little bit, what I'll do is I'll just touch that up on this side here. You just stick it in like that, you clean it up, and what's nice is you can actually see to make sure you're not cutting over center, so you can look down this hole and see the grinding wheel and know you're not going over center on it. The split point's pretty nice, especially for centering on holes, but if I'm really worried about it, I'll center punch it and always start the hole with like an 1/8 inch or smaller, just to get a nice location on the hole, and then I'll step up to a bigger bit. And again, I make these super aggressive because I want them just to rip through the metal. So I'll get chunks coming off of this when I'm drilling, you know, unless I need a nice pretty clean hole for something. And if that's the case, I'm probably going to a machine shop. I'm not going to try to drill it by hand. I'm going to go to a machine shop or chalk something up in a drill press. But these are for hand drilling. I'm not going to make them like this for a drill press, because I'm not going to be tired pushing extra hard with my feed pressure, where if I have to hold this in my hand for 15 minutes, I'm going to make it as aggressive as possible so it does all the work. All I got to do is set the drill bit there, and you can just feel it eating into the metal. I'll show you a little later a demonstration of drilling the difference between these two, but I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this. Also, the Drill Doctor 750 has the adjustment back here too. I like to start with this all the way back, and then I count 4 tall notches up. I wish they made that a little more exact, you know, a little nicer, like with a dial or something. But if you start with it all the way back, you're gonna take the most amount of metal off that drill bit. If I'm already starting with a sharp drill bit, I'm gonna screw this in at least 4 tall notches. And then if I still feel like I'm taking too much, I might go in another notch yet, because I just want to touch these up. You know, this bit's brand new, so I don't really need to do anything crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this. You can see how that's done. The red. So you start with the red, and you end with the red. Then you don't have to count, because if you sharpen this an uneven amount of times, it will cut around corners. Now the instruction manual does tell you to keep going until you don't even hear the grinder touching the bit anymore. And if you want to do that, that's cool. I just go until I have a nice edge all the way out. And if I don't see where I've got the nice mirrored edge there, I'll keep going a few more turns. That makes a really nice, I don't know if you can see that, it's probably too shiny, but it makes a really aggressive cut. And then you can see there's a little overlap here where it comes into that split point, but I'm not worried about that at all. So now we're gonna set that up, and we're gonna drill with a regular brand new drill bit out of the package, and this one, so you can see the difference. This is the Drill Doctor bit. You can see it's nice and shiny on the end. We're just going to drill through this little piece of plate steel. And another tip, so since I sharpen these pretty stupid and they're really aggressive, I actually set my clutch so I don't break the bit. So if it does grab, I'm not going to break the bit right off. I mean, I still might, who knows. But I don't want to break the bit, so I always set up my clutch just so I don't have to worry about that. But this is the sharp bit. This is probably the worst way you could do this, but when we're drilling on a vehicle, it might be this obnoxious where the vise isn't bolted down, it's on a cart, but I'm barely putting any feed pressure, maybe 4 or 5 pounds of feed pressure, and you can see all those chunks just coming out. And I mean, you can get really stupid with it. You know, put 5 or 10 pounds of feed pressure. Yeah, this still is not very much. And you can see it's just throwing chunks of metal. I have it on low speed, not going too crazy. You can see already we drilled quite a ways through that. I'll put it on high speed. You can see we're just throwing chunks of metal out of there. And again, I'm just holding this so it doesn't buck and move, but I'm probably putting 5 or 10 pounds of pressure, maybe 5 pounds, not real hard. But it's just throwing chunks of metal. We see that mess we made in what, you know, just maybe 3 minutes tops. So then we're going to open this one up right out of the package. Like I said, the main thing you want to look at is look at all that. See? We're going to go ahead and wipe that off. You can see what the next one does. And we're back on low speed again. Drilling, I mean, it's still just a brand new drill bit. I'd hope so, right? You can already see they're much smaller chunks. I have to push much harder to get it to feel like it's biting in. You can see it's just not as big a chunks. Let's go up to high speed. Yeah, it's pulling pretty good. So you can see, sharpening with the drill doctor a little more aggressive. I'm still having to push. See, like, so this is where I was at with the other one. I'm pushing pretty hard. So you can see the Drill Doctor does a really good job of sharpening these up. This actually, I think the new bit actually made some nice curls. Yeah, we're not quite as deep yet. But the feed pressure is the biggest difference you can see. So there, I'm just pushing on the cart. You see, I pushed hard enough to actually get that kind of hot, but if I push the same way, so you can see if you lose that edge, nothing beats, knowing how to use that Drill Doctor. You could just get really ridiculous with how sharp you want to make these. And if you want it a little more aggressive, just go a little bit more towards the positive side of things. And when I'm doing this on the clock, I'm pushing this hard. I want this job done now. So I want to turn out big chunks of metal as fast as possible because I don't want to waste a bunch of time drilling a hole. I just want to get this job done. So I'm going to push real hard. And just blast through that like that. And then, like I said, I set my clutch up so if it does grab, it's not, I'm not going to shear this bit off or break it. So that was full tilt with that. See if we can do another one with full tilt through this, see how long it takes. I'm not going to speed this video up at all, but you guys can always speed them up in actually pretty impressed with this Irwin bit. They don't always come from out of the package this nice. Yep, didn't even change the color. A little bit of bluing in it, but not bad. But yeah, that's actually pretty impressive with this Irwin bit. But you can see the Drill Doctor does just as nice a job. And it's really nice to touch them up or make them a little more aggressive than they need to be. The 3/16 actually is really nice. Sometimes you get into a little bit bigger sizes, like 5/16 or 1/2 inch, and that adjusting that edge to be a little more aggressive really makes a difference in the amount of time it takes to get through this. And this is pretty soft steel, so that's most of the time what you're drilling. But anyway, I hope this helps, and this is some of the real hand skill that you pick up over the years, how to get through metal without breaking everything, or having a bad attitude. Having a good sharp drill bit's going to save you more time than messing around on a bench grinder or anything else. So this Drill Doctor has paid for itself 100 times over. But anyway, thanks for watching. How you get my mess cleaned up.